the trim light. I'm going to paint this door white.
Ooh, cute.
And the closet door's white.
Yes. Yes.
So it's nice and fresh.
So bright and fresh.
Yeah.
So it's like a grayish blue. Is it bluish? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I picked a gray with like a little undertone, so it's this one. It doesn't look like it's super blue, but like it's natural. But it looks really good for me.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was like bluish or greenish.
Yeah.
Or like beigeish, but yeah, love it. Hello.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby.
And I'm Shauna.
And this is Anxious.
And Afraid.
The podcast.
Where you put most likely earbuds in your ears or some sort of speaker out of your car and you listen to us talk.
Yep, about spooky things and creepy things, things that make you anxious. Well, things that make us anxious, for
Indeed.
sure.
And we bring you along for the ride
Yeah.
to torture you.
You probably haven't heard of a lot of the stuff that we cover. I feel like we try and look for more obscure stuff.
Yeah.
For the most part, but yeah, that's what we do.
Sup.
Welcome.
So,
So,
we're going to talk about what made us anxious or afraid
yes.
while we've been away. What's going on?
In our little personal lives. Well, I mean, in the beginning, we were talking about the nursery. Been working on,
Baby Theo.
yeah, baby Theo, been painting his nursery, so that's been fun.
Yeah, you're still working hard.
Always.
Getting it ready.
I had the 20-week scan.
Oh, that's the big one.
Yes, it was very fun
Exciting.
to see. It was really exciting. We got to see his little bod in there. He's moving around
His
a lot.
legs.
Yeah. Just before this recording, he was kicking the shit out of my bladder, so that's been fun.
He
Yeah,
wants everyone to know that he is here.
he is here. He is ready to party at all hours of the day. But yeah, 20-week scan went really well. Everything looked really good. He's measuring right on.
And you're feeling pretty good.
I mean,
Most part.
Yeah, things suck, but it's fine.
Manageable.
Yeah, right now I'm going through a very itchy stage. My skin is super itchy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've had spurts of this before and then it goes away, but like it's funny because you have all this extra blood when you're pregnant. And so when you scratch at yourself, like the scratch marks stay behind like a lot more.
Yeah, you get really pink and stuff.
Well, like even after like days later, I still have these like
Really? Days?
it
Wow.
looks like I've been attacked by a demon. I have scratches all over my
Oh my
body.
gosh, so interesting.
So just super itchy right now, dealing with that and the beginnings of stretch marks, which is so cute.
Hey, where are your stripes, girl?
Yeah, I just like disappointed because I would put on I just would slather myself in lotion.
I mean, they say nothing is going to prevent them.
I know. I was like, for sure. I thought I started so early, like way before I was showing. I was slathering up like fucking beluga whale, like
Stop.
smearing oil all over myself. Didn't matter. I guess it's genetics, but what are you gonna do?
Girl, I'm covered in them. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll match.
We'll match. We'll match even more.
But yeah, everything's going all right. Over halfway. What
So
are we
exciting.
this week? A banana sized.
Oh, a banana.
A banana. So
Cute.
yeah, it's good. What about you?
Oh, just life's been crazy. Work's been crazy. Oh, yesterday I had a migraine, which was rough.
Oh, I know you were telling me about that. It sounded awful.
I just like woke up with it, which usually I either have like inklings of a migraine before I go to bed or something, but I didn't. I like woke up at 1 a.m. with my head pounding and it was just a rough night. So I had to deal with that.
That sucks. I feel like my worst ones usually visit and they sneak up on me. I like wake up with the worst ones because
You definitely have more severe situations with migraines than I do, but
I don't know.
But I'm pretty severe too.
You barf more than I do.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna mention that detail, but yeah, this one made me barf. The birth chart. The birth chart was earth the hurt off the shirt. Yeah, that one made me barf. So yeah, they can get pretty intense.
Yeah. What is with that? I mean, they just attack your whole body. It's really unfair.
Yeah, because I was feeling nauseous. My head was pounding. Everything just was like achy. It was just, ugh.
Yeah.
Migraines are no joke.
They really aren't. And people who don't get them really don't understand. Like,
True.
Like, oh, it's a headache. Like, why are you so dramatic?
It's like
you don't understand.
It's intense.
There's like all these neurological symptoms that I don't know. Do you get the neurological ones where you're like, I don't know if you get auras, but sometimes I get auras.
Sometimes I'll get like spots in my eye.
Yeah,
like
spots.
Black spots. But that's pretty rare for me.
Do you get confused and just really stupid when you have one? Because that's what happens to me.
Besides on my everyday occasion. No, I mean, I don't specifically feel extra stupid during
It is the
migraines.
weirdest thing. Like this fog comes over me where like forming sentences is hard. Remembering words is hard. My balance is really bad. Like I will just kind of tip over.
Yeah.
The weirdest stuff. It just like really affects you. It's stupid.
It can make some people blind.
Yes.
Like you really honestly can't look at light, look at your phone. Like migraines, you have to be in the dark.
Yeah, cave mode.
Ice packs, all the junk.
Well, I'm sorry you had one.
Oh, thank you.
I've been spared as of the recent weeks. So, well, I probably shouldn't say that.
Don't jinx it.
It's going to come
Knock
for me
on
now.
wood.
But mine have been a little bit better. They were terrible at the beginning of my pregnancy, but they have gotten better. So
good.
I'm happy for that.
You know, I was also anxious because, well, not maybe a good anxious, actually. There's a good anxious.
Totally.
There's totally good anxious.
There's totally good nerves.
Positive anxiousness. But we went to our BFF Jesse's baby had her first birthday.
Yeah, Remy. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, girl. And I took Rylan, and it was like Rylan's going to her BFF's birthday party.
I know. It was like, and she did so well at her social event.
Yeah, we always have. We learned that we have to ease her into it.
She's an introvert.
Definitely an introvert. She's like sees the people, and then she freaks out, and then they come to bring her back and be like, okay, it's fine. We're not at home, but we're gonna be social. And then she's like, okay.
If you say so.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. A little stressful because I mean I did have to like bring her in for a bit and like kind of take care of her. It was an experience for sure.
You did good though. I mean,
thank you.
'Cause you were on your own with a baby at someone's house you hadn't been to.
Yeah, mostly strangers.
Yeah, with a lot of.
Normally I'd be like attached to your hip.
Right.
Honestly,
I was like, Shauna's not with me. This is so weird. I'm outside and she's inside.
I know. I made a couple attempts to try and go since Rylan was back in her car seat, just chilling. But there was no good path for me to like walk with a car seat. There were so many people. And I was
It
like,
was hot
damn
too,
it.
so honestly,
Yeah, it was very hot.
You probably had the better spot inside where there was a fan, but
Yeah. I wasn't complaining.
but gosh, those decorations were so cute. She did such a good job.
Precious first birthday party. You guys did great. Pictures are adorable.
It was a 70s theme.
Of course, so precious.
So
but like
cute.
we got some pictures of like Rylan finally interacting with Remy now that she's at that age where she like can reach for things and that was so exciting.
Yeah, and she let me hold her, and that was a moment.
That was a moment.
She reached for me. I was like, "We're gonna do this right now."
Yeah.
She's open to it.
Because the last time she cried, right?
Yeah, she was not into it.
She was not okay.
She was like, "You put me down, you witch. I don't want to be anywhere near you."
Yeah.
I was like, "I understand."
She did so good. So proud.
Yeah, so we're warming her up to be also my best friend.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, that was a whole thing. It was great.
Indeed.
Should we just? So we have an announcement. I like don't know how to like talk about this or how to start it.
Yeah. Well, first off, do you want to like ease into it? Like, because, you know, we're recording actually at our 3-year anniversary
Yes.
of doing this wonderful podcast of ours, baby
This
podcast.
wonderful journey it's been 3 freaking years.
Crazy motherfucking years. The world has been literally on fire and going wild.
We've been through a lot in 3 years. Like, we've both moved. There's been weddings. There's been babies. Pregnancies.
Elections.
Elections. A pandemic.
The loss of women's rights.
Yeah, just throw that in there. Fires.
Aliens, actually, too.
Legit verified aliens.
All the things in the news is wild.
It's been a crazy 3 years. Like, honestly, looking back, like, how did we... Wow, that's actually a lot to go through in 3 years.
Really, like, that's a pretty short amount of time for what we've been through, I honestly think.
Yeah, and...
So many crises.
So many crises. Stuck it out.
But, yeah. So, happy 3 years to us.
Happy 3 years, guys. It's also Michael's birthday coming up, so happy birthday to
It's
Michael.
Virgo season, our favorite season.
Yeah, Shauna's birthday's coming up as well, so happy birthday to you both.
Thank
My
you.
beautiful little introverts.
Love it.
My organized, neat freak Virgos.
So sweet. Our tourist.
Tourist?
Oh, wait.
You're just visiting.
Here's me mispronouncing words again.
I'm a Taurus, and we famously get along with Virgos, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Um,
Here we are.
are.
What we're avoiding is the fact that we are having a hard time keeping up with this project
yeah,
of our podcast.
At 3 years, we've decided to take kind of a more permanent break, you guys.
And we're very sad and sorry.
It's been a
But-
hard and tough call to make.
Yeah. It's like one we don't want to make. Like,
Not at all.
yeah, we don't like feel good about it, but after fighting, not fighting, but like thinking about it for so long, and we're like, we really need to like take care of ourselves right now.
Yeah, it's just a really wild time. It's been really hard to like get the energy up to do episodes being pregnant, I will admit. And we all know I hold myself to some insane standards
You do, honey, sweetie, stop.
with like research. So I want to be able to put out
And
like
other things.
and most things in life, but I like to, I don't want to like sacrifice the quality. So we're not saying goodbye forever, but it's going to be a hiatus for a while, guys. And maybe we'll put out sporadic episodes here and there.
Yeah.
But
A random surprise
yeah,
here and there, months at a time. We don't know.
we
But
don't
like,
have a set return date is what we're saying.
yes, we just know that we need to stop significantly to take care of ourselves. Like, yeah, Abby's pregnant and she's going through it a little bit more than I went through pregnancy wise, but this postpartum shit is really
Kicking her butt.
it's kicking my butt, and I'm having really rough days, and so I need to figure it out. Like, I need to just not work so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't. I feel like it's been on you
Well,
on this time.
I mean, I don't have a child to take care of, so that made sense. But like, I don't know. I feel like this would be a very different conversation if we were doing the podcast. Like, if this is what our job was, I would do it forever and ever and ever.
100%. If this was what we could be making a living on, 100%.
I would never quit.
Never.
But we work full-time jobs, and lately we've both been working a lot of overtime.
Lots of overtime. It's just been wild.
And at the end of the day, it's just too much to have to sit down and write for hours or
There's a lot of
research.
research to podcasts. I feel like if you listen to other podcasts, I guess maybe like more smaller ones, like you always kind of start off thinking like, oh, you just need a mic and a computer and you talk. And no, it's like, well, to do it right, like structurally how we like it to, it's a lot of organization of notes and research, which takes days, weeks, and then lots of editing. It's a lot.
Yeah,
It really
I usually
is.
put like a whole week
Posting
into
about
writing,
it.
like after work. And I mean, if you can just imagine working like, 8 or 9 hours during the day and then coming home and writing for like 2 or 3 hours, it's just a lot.
And on top of that, you got to do laundry and cook and eat and shower. And there's a human baby I have to take care of now on demand. Like, I can't tell her to hold on. That's the thing.
Mama's busy.
I can't tell her to like, wait a second. She's like, no, I'm crying now. So yeah, it's just a lot. Like, I don't even have time for myself. It's a hard adjustment for sure.
Yeah. And not to be too negative, because we've just loved doing this project so much. Like,
We do.
And-
It's a special place in our hearts. It's our baby.
yes, we're very proud of it.
We are
We've been
very
through a
proud of
lot. We didn't want to say we wanted to be done, but yeah, we're just got to do what's best for us right now. Mm-hmm. And I know you guys will understand because our fans are so nice. And
Truly, honestly, they're the best. They're so nice and so great.
And of course, like, we'll keep the episodes up. They'll be here. You can come say hey whenever you want. Our Instagram will still be there. Like, we'll still check that stuff.
We'll still, I see funny memes appropriate for our podcast all the time. We can like still post and Facebook group and
Still message us. We still love that stuff.
Sure.
we would still get like new fans like
Just
recently.
like recently.
And I was like, oh man, that's making me sad.
I know, because we were already like pretty set on the decision, and
Yeah.
when somebody's like, "Oh, you should do this for an episode too," and we're like, "Oh yeah, about that."
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a hard thing to have to say and have to come to, but
Yeah,
we love you guys, and I mean, we're still going to do this one last episode and maybe talk about some of our favorite episodes that we've done.
reminisce a bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did I tell you I counted I counted the amount of pages I wrote?
No,
Yeah, total.
shut up.
I think including this one, it was like 610. That's like
Over 3 years. Wow,
that's like a thick book.
wow, that is a book.
Yeah, we could just make the most
Should we make our own
deranged
book?
the most like
Oh.
convoluted, disjointed book.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
I just
count
went
it?
through the docs and like looked at how many pages each one was.
I should do that with mine, I wonder. But I did so many on notebook too.
You
you
actually did like
so sporadic.
writing on like notepads.
I was all over the place with my notes.
Yeah, mine was mostly all in Google Docs, so that was kind of easy to track down. But
Yeah, I couldn't always get there.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. I feel like most of them are about 10 pages. Like that was probably the average, but there was some that were like 19.
Yeah, I remember doing one that was like 15 that I typed out pages.
Yeah, it's wild. So,
It's
I mean, imagine doing
homework.
a 19-page
College essays.
report in a week. I remember when I was in college, like being assigned an 11-page paper was like
Nightmare.
I was like, how will I ever live? And they give you like a whole semester to do it. And I'm like, 19 pages in a week. It's not a big deal. It's pretty wild if you think about it.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
should we talk about some of our favorite episodes?
Ooh, did we? Oh, I guess I didn't realize if we should do that up front or afterwards.
I don't know.
I guess so.
Okay.
Also, not sure we mentioned it yet that, I mean, if we do have like some merch, but we'll leave that up for a little bit.
Oh, right.
If you want to buy some last minute things, or if we want to buy last minute things.
Yeah, we're going to leave the merch store open for a little bit. If you want, a nostalgia sticker or something.
Mm-hmm. Also Patreon.
Patreon I will be turning off, so don't worry
Yes.
about that.
We'll take care of that for you.
Thank you to our recent supporters and like everyone who's done that means the world to us that you guys supported us for so long.
Truly, that's like incredible.
Yeah. So big thanks, big ups to y'all.
Thank you.
Didn't think anyone would ever sign up for that, so that was wild.
Yeah, truly. Who would be interested in us? I don't understand. But
It's still confusing to this day.
Honestly, if you can't tell, I don't understand.
100 episodes later.
Somebody listens? I don't know.
So weird. Yeah, so some admin stuff, but like the episodes will stay up, so you can always go back and listen if you want. Yeah. Let's see, favorite episodes.
Do you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, you go first.
I didn't think about this very hard. I probably should have thought of it harder. But one that comes to mind was I really enjoyed. I'm not doing this in any special order. Obviously, it's just coming out of my brain and memories, which is very little, to be honest. But I loved doing the, what did I call it? The White Island volcano.
Oh, yeah. Is it the
story.
Wakari Island?
But yeah, the volcano story I did not too long ago. I remember just being so into researching that and telling it and being terrified and not able to breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pregnant at the time, but
That was one of my favorites that you did too. That one was so intense.
very intense. A lot of plain ones I love. Like early on, one of my favorites was the Malaysia airline.
Yes, that was one of
Mystery.
our really popular ones too.
Because it vanished and there's been no updates as long as I know of. Like,
That was a really good one and a really we love a good not a good plane crash, but we love a plane crash around here. Or at least
They're terrifying to us very much.
They're so scary and so interesting to talk about.
But that one, like, literally has not been found. So that's, like, just so eerie.
Yeah, that one's very eerie.
That's another favorite of mine. And the Andes ones.
Oh,
that
the
plane
Andes
crash.
ones.
Where I, like, turned it back on you. I'm like, you gave us cannibalism. I'm going to give you some cannibalism.
Get fucking ready.
Yeah, that was a good story.
That one was harrowing, like everything
I was proud of that two-parter. I really was.
That was a really well done.
Thank you.
Two-parter.
Yeah, I'm doing my favorite ones that I've done, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to remember like what the other person's done because you do all the research, so obviously you're
there's more memory of it. Yeah.
But I really also like I loved your reincarnation cases.
Oh, thank you.
Because like I didn't do anything like that, but like
those made me so nervous to do. Honestly, I was like, people are gonna judge me. I'm gonna say the wrong things.
No, I love the Lou Gehrig one. I loved your Maryland episodes.
Oh, thank you.
The conspiracy Maryland ones were so good. There was like so much stuff I didn't know about.
I still think I'm self-conscious about those early episodes.
I mean, me too about the early ones, but what are you gonna do?
Thank you.
I still really liked those. I was trying to think of other ones that you did that I remember really liking. You did some really good alien ones.
Oh,
the Betty
and Barney Hill.
Yeah.
That was the one I was thinking of. I remember like doing 16 pages on that one.
That one was super good.
Thank you.
That was a really good story.
I love a good alien story.
Yeah, you did all the really good aliens.
Oh, you know what? It just popped in my head. I really enjoyed also the guy who couldn't stop eating, the Terrare guy.
Terrare. That was one I was going to mention.
The ball lightning episode was really weird. And
Terrare was so disgusting.
Yeah. He maybe ate a baby. That was just so weird. Like, couldn't stop. He couldn't stop.
Disturbing.
I just remember thinking, like, how is this a real story?
Part of me hopes it's not, but
yeah. So, okay. I remember some of the ones you did. Obviously, I love your rain mystery episodes.
My rain series.
The glob ones.
Oh, yeah.
The meat one I could not handle.
The Kentucky meat shower and the Oakville blobs. Classics.
Those are great ones.
Those are good mysteries.
Mm-hmm. You did, I feel like, a lot more like ghosty haunting episodes than I could.
Funny because like
I'm like more into ghost shows and stuff.
Yeah,
huh?
but I did more ghosts and like cursed objects. Did you ever do a cursed object?
No,
I did all the cursed objects.
You really did,
and the haunted dolls and shit.
I loved that you did. I made that maybe. It just worked out that way. I loved hearing you tell me that rather than me doing the research on that.
Good job. I would only try and pick the ones where I was like genuinely like blown away. Yeah. Usually, except for Robert the doll. That one was just fun. Yeah, I did really like doing the ghosty ones. I think those are really fun to research. Because like I'm a little bit more of a skeptic. So if I could find one that like really freaked me out, I was like the Enfield Poltergeist. I remember doing that one. That was really good. I feel like my favorites are like some of the gnarliest ones.
Yeah.
Because I'm so fucking morbid. Like, obviously the Donner Party 2-parter.
Yes.
That
took a lot of people back. Like,
I mean, that was probably my first everyone like over the top intense episode. Yeah. The USS Indianapolis.
Very intense. I actually cried in that one, I think.
I mostly love those for Shauna's reactions just to see how far it can push her before she dies.
Oh my gosh.
Of panic.
And the other plane crash you did where I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the worst episode.
Oh, that one was a more recent one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the flight number, but yes, that was a Gus suggestion.
It crashed in the swamp. Yeah, and then you did the ghosty version of that, right?
Yeah, that was a 2-parter as well.
Nice. That was a good one.
But I also really liked the plane crash survivor. It's like Vesna Volovich, I think was her name. Yeah. And she just like survived and then asked for a cigarette afterwards. And I was like, girl.
Badass.
Yeah. And then obviously like the natural disaster ones you just can't get enough of. Like I think Mount St. Helens.
I was going to say the Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
And that was a good one.
That one I feel like I learned so much about. Like, because it's nearby us, and I just had never really done a deep dive into Mount St. Helens, and like we have like a little jar of the ashes downstairs.
That's
which is
so crazy to me.
Yeah. But what about you, Michael? Do you have a favorite?
I have some favorites. Yeah, like you mentioned, Donner Party, but like I think any of the episodes that could potentially have cannibalism are like super twisted and thrilling, I think.
Totally.
I think all the reincarnation ones have been really interesting.
Well, thank you,
in
Michael.
a way that I didn't expect I would find like a reincarnation story to be.
Oh my God, you don't even know how much that means to me. Coming from you? Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're real fun. They're fun. I like them.
Thank you.
And I don't think we would want to forget any of our special guest hosts that
Of
we've
course.
had.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I don't think I'm missing any, but I apologize if I have here.
You can
the
list?
Yeah, I think Jason Milstead was our first with the JFK episode.
Jason.
It was a
Iconic.
two-parter. Yeah,
Yes.
that was pretty early on, episodes 17 and 18.
Thank you, Jason.
Ryan Miller, I think, had the next with
Yes.
the Dyatlov Pass. That
Loved
was
that
episode
one.
23. That was a great one.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
Chad, of course, in episode 36, did
yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Of
Yes,
course.
thank you,
Chad.
Let's see. We had Abby Wilson with the kidnapping of J.C. Lee Dugard.
Yes.
That one was hardcore.
Number 41. That
She
was
did
a
so
pretty
good.
brutal
Thank
one.
you, Abby.
Episode 48, we had a Halloween special with Matt.
Yes.
I believe that was his Sasquatch episode. Or no, that was the history of Halloween.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like the, yeah.
He did a couple. He
Did
returned.
he?
Yes.
Yeah, because he
He
did the national park disappearance as well.
But he also did like the candy being poisoned, right?
Yeah, that was the Halloween.
Gotcha.
And we always wanted him to come back and do Bigfoot, but it just never happened. But
Yeah.
That was the sort of the national park's disappearance.
sort
one.
of,
He
yeah.
Possible
dipped
theory.
a toe.
Yeah, dipped a little.
Thank
big-
you, Matt,
big
twice.
toe.
He did it twice for
Yeah.
us? Oh, that's
In
awesome.
between, we had Jeremy Campbell doing the Batman of Los Angeles episode.
Jeremy.
Jeremy,
That was
so
a good one.
Yeah, she did so good.
I
Thanks,
think
Jeremy.
that was all of them.
So many guests, like
Wow.
so lucky. We were really lucky. We had so many
Some
guests.
good friends.
And just shout out, we had a upcoming guest that just isn't going to work out, but our good friend Katie was going to be a guest.
Yeah.
So if we ever come back, we want her for sure. But
If
thank
she's
you,
willing
Katie.
to do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, she was up for the game. Okay, we don't want to piss off our BFF Jessie, but I think she did like
she was
an
on
in-person episode.
Yes. It was a listener. It was like listener stories, and she had one from her grandparents. I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, and she like told it in
Yeah.
person. Yeah,
Yes. So
that was fun.
that was really fun. I remember having her on.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to do an episode eventually too, but it's just hard with having a baby. Like to
She
find
had a
time.
baby first, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough.
So yeah, thank
Good
you to all of our
times.
guests. Thank you if you've ever wrote in with a story. Like we just love to hear those.
Even just participating in our Instagram or Facebook group, like I hope you still do that. I love hearing from you guys. Or oh my gosh, I never got to mention I think it was Gus, our friend Gus, who informed me about this is another great episode I did as the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun mystery one. And
Got
he
blown up.
yeah, he informed me he sent this article in our group that it was completely destroyed, sadly,
Yeah.
and by like what, teenage like doofuses.
Oh, I don't know. I never saw any like conclusions on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it was legit destroyed. So like those don't exist anymore.
Which
but
is wild. Like you covered a little piece of history.
I did. That is so weird.
Yeah.
But that like made me sad. That's sad that that was destroyed, even though those stones were really weird. But
There was some like controversial stuff in there, but like, come on now. Why would you?
it was still cool and interesting. Come on.
They had some good highlights.
But yeah, people have like great suggestions. Just like I love looking into stories no matter what. So yeah, I just love everyone's feedback and participation with all of this.
I mean, the story I'm doing today is a listener suggestion. I thought we should end it with a suggestion since
Yes,
got to honor those. And if you
Yes.
did suggest and we didn't, do your episode, it's nothing personal. Sometimes it just didn't work out, or we
Very
didn't,
true, or
couldn't
couldn't
find
find
enough,
it.
or or it was too dark.
Yeah, some of those too.
Like anything like with mass shootings, I was just like, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
I
But
thought about it, but no.
we appreciated all of your guys' support and
Yes.
your suggestions and for following us for so long. And it's been a real honor and a real journey.
Love you.
Love you. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Aww.
We love each other.
Yeah. And we always said, like, we want to be able to do this podcast and come out of it still being best friends. And we did it.
Oh my gosh, honestly.
We did
Did
not.
we ever fight?
We didn't have a Fleetwood Mac. We stayed together.
We very much still like each other, and we work together in the same building yet again. So I think we're pretty solid.
We did it. We made it.
We still love each other.
Yes. Still best friends.
So
I think that's an accomplishment right there.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, is there any other episodes you want to mention before we get started?
I don't know.
I can't think of
any more. Maybe once we're done.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we got a little snack for you.
Here we go.
Let's do this.
Episode 102.
102.
And we have a topic that was suggested to us by a very lovely listener named Sky. Sky has been pretty active.
We've talked about her before.
Yeah, she's been on our socials, and
isn't she like under Australia? Like
under Australia, she lives under the ground.
But she lives all the way over there. Is what I'm saying.
She lives across the world. I'm pretty sure. Yes. I could say, no, I'm probably just going to be talking out my ass, so I shouldn't say anything. I have a terrible memory. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're correct in that she
Tasmania.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Hey girl.
Hey girl. Obviously. We see you.
We're talking about you. So thank you for the suggestion. Feel honored that it's our last one for a while.
Yeah.
And Shauna does know a little bit about this topic because she also saw the suggestion.
Yeah.
But I don't think you didn't do like a deep dive, right?
No, I just did like a quick Wikipedia scan. I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting too. So the topic we will be covering today is the story of the Lake Nyos disaster, which is a bit of a natural disaster tale. Mm-hmm. And we just can't get enough of the natural disasters.
This is true.
Mother Nature popping off. Okay. So Lake Nyos. Where is it exactly? Do you know where it is?
No.
Okay.
Not even going to try.
So it's located in the northwestern region of Cameroon, which is in beautiful West Africa.
Okay.
Lake Nyos actually has something in common with an Oregon landmark and state park, which is Crater Lake. Only we just named ours Crater Lake, which is also what it is. It's like categorized as a crater lake. We didn't name ours anything. We're just like, yeah, it's a crater lake. That's what it is.
So original and creative.
I know. They named theirs Lake Nyos, which is arguably much cooler.
Never even thought about that.
I know, me either. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that's just like the category it is and also what we named it. Okay. And it's a state park. Okay, we could have done better. So, crater lakes are lakes that are formed by an explosion or collapse from volcanic activity. Mm-hmm. Both Crater Lake in Oregon and Lake Nyos in Cameroon, West Africa, are known for their beautiful deep blue waters and lush landscape surrounding them. Have you been to Crater Lake?
Oh, yeah, a few times.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's a great thing to go see if you can. So Lake Nyos is roughly a circular shape with deep waters up to 680 feet deep, and it's surrounded by steep hills. The volcano Lake Nyos lives in is long extinct and is thought to have erupted like up to 400 years ago.
Okay.
So a while. It's been a while.
So it's officially dead volcano, though?
Yeah, it's considered a dead volcano. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the area the lake is located in is not alone in its volcanic activity. Regions in this part of West Africa have been volcanically active for millions of years. The lake itself lies within the Oku volcanic field. And while the volcano Lake Nyos is situated... while the volcano Lake Nyos is situated and has been long dead, there is still a pool of magma beneath the lake. Just waiting to stir up some trouble. So more on that later. As for human activity in that area, the lake is surrounded by several small villages, including the village of Nyos. The area is very rural. There's not like running water. There's not electricity out there, dirt roads. Mm-hmm. It's populated by farmers, people who raise cattle. It was very quiet and beautiful place to live where people led simple, honest lives and probably didn't give much thought to their beautiful lake being a potential murderer. But sometimes life is cruel that way. So without further ado, let's talk about the event. The day was August 21st, 1986, which was a Thursday.
Oh, okay. When I think of 80s, it's like not that long ago.
I know, but it kind of was.
I hate how old we are right now.
I know!
Okay, but we're in 86.
86.
Okay.
On a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
It had been a day like most others in the small villages around Lake Nyos, although there had been a heavy rain during the day. Farmers and their families had put in a hard day's work, and as night fell, most people began to retire to their homes for the evening. Mm-hmm. But soon, people began to hear a strange sound coming from the direction of the lake at around 9:30 p.m. Many witnesses reported hearing a rumbling sound that lasted for a few minutes. And what do you think curious people do when they hear an unexplained sound in their area?
They stupidly look for it.
They go and investigate, right? So many of the villagers walked outside, and they were hit with the strong smell of sulfur and rotten eggs. Others reported the smell of gunpowder.
Okay.
The villagers who were closest to the lake and could actually see it said that they saw something quite spectacular. A foamy jet of water was shooting up from the center of the lake, causing such a disturbance in the water that an 80-foot tall wave was formed.
No. Don't bring a wave into this.
They just always somehow come up.
I was picturing like a fountain like shooting, like a stream shooting up.
But like it bursted from the water in such a fashion that it created these massive waves.
You said 80 feet?
Up to 80 feet.
That's disgusting.
It's pretty gross. So that crashed onto the rocky shoreline. Even stranger still was the gas cloud erupting from the same area. Witnesses described it as a murky white cloud that grew in height as it spouted from the lake, reaching around 100 meters in height before descending and spreading across the lake waters.
Okay, that's a lot.
And it's like nighttime, so just like picturing all this in the dark
makes it eerie.
Very eerie. The misty white cloud continued to spread, moving on from the lake and down through the valleys, into the roads and surrounding towns. Many people who were close by inhaled the strange gas and collapsed almost instantly.
Wait, and what time was this?
9:30.
It was 9:30 at night?
Yeah. So like...
Wait, so instantly get a whiff of it and then you're out?
Yeah. Pass out.
I hate that.
Go unconscious. Many witnesses described feeling really hot before they lost consciousness, with some of them ripping off their clothes in haste to cool down. Oof. Those affected also described feeling sluggish and confused, with some losing the ability to speak, although others panicked and began to run and scream.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't just the men and women and children who were collapsing after inhaling the noxious clouds. Animals of all sizes began to fall to the ground as well.
Oh, that's sad. Including
the large cattle, goats, pigs, and chickens.
Oh, that is so eerie. Mm-hmm. It's like, is it silent or is it still kind of like rumbling, exploding?
I think it's pretty silent. Like,
oh, that makes it grosser.
I know there's just this like creepy like mist coming
biblical.
For you. It is. It's like biblical, or like some kind of like superhero villain just like drops a gas bomb and just creeps over everything.
Yeah, and even though it's like described as like kind of white-ish, I still kind of imagine it as like the silent, smelly killer. It's like it's not a fart. Sorry.
Silent but deadly.
I wish it was a fart.
I mean, it might as well be because it smells like sulfur and rotten eggs.
Oh, but man, okay. This is creepy.
Yeah, it is. It is biblical. That's a pretty good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not like, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere and this is happening.
Very rural at night. You're probably like getting ready for bed, if not already sleeping. Like the kids are sleeping.
Yeah, it's not like you can
Cattles
pick
are
up your
dropping.
phone and call anyone for help. It's,
oh my God,
you're just disconnected from everyone.
You're just seeing it happen.
Yeah.
Ew.
Very
okay.
apocalyptic. Some people did say they thought it was the end of the world, which I
would
blame them.
I literally would.
Yep. Soon, an eerie silence settled over the area until the next morning. A man named, I don't want to say this wrong, Ngumbi, had heard news of the disaster early that morning, August 22nd, and climbed on his bike. He rode from the town of Womb towards the village of Nyos. He first reached the village of Cha though, and said he started to feel dizzy and strange about the time he smelled something funny, like eggs. Soon the man was slipping off his bike and fell unconscious. And this is the next day. He woke up
he was riding a bike?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
He woke up a little bit later, around 8:35 a.m., feeling disoriented but determined to continue his mission. The man continued down the road on his bike and soon came across a dead antelope. He stared at the dead creature and told himself he shouldn't just let it go to waste. So he's like, that's lunch right there. So he tied it to his bike and continued down the road. Disturbingly, the antelope was only the beginning of all the dead things Ngumbi would encounter.
Okay, so he's going towards it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, and then he fell unconscious, and he's like, oh, that was weird. Let me just get back up and get this dead animal.
Yeah. Oh, dead antelope. Just tie this to my bike.
Okay. Interesting.
So he came upon dead rats, and then cover your ears, Roscoe, dead dogs. Aww. Super sad. At first, Ngumbi thought the animals must have died by a lightning strike. He had seen such scenarios before, but as he continued on his journey, that possibility seemed more and more unlikely. As he came to the village of Nyos, which is closest to that lake, it wasn't just dead animals anymore. Ngumbi started coming across dead people.
Oh, that's awful.
He entered the small tin-roofed huts of the village and found dead bodies of men, women, and children scattered about inside.
Oh, that's horrific.
I know. After checking a few huts, he couldn't find a single survivor and quickly got on his bike and rode back to Womb to report what he had found. Ngumbi arrived back at Womb around 10:40 a.m. and shakily reported what he had seen to his boss, Anthony Wango Wabwa, who was the assistant chief of preventative medicine. From there, medical doctors and local officials were also alerted with the news that making it all the way to the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon. Upon further inspections of the affected area, witnesses described the eerie silence which greeted them upon arrival. There was no human activity or sounds from the various animals that used to be there. Even the insects were gone.
That is so eerie.
It's so creepy.
And it's like it's like everything looks fine. It's just everything's dead, right?
It's just silent and still.
It's not like there's destroyed buildings. It's not like it's a bomb. It's not like it's a
That's like one of the weirdest things about this natural disaster is there isn't like a lot of physical evidence of a natural disaster.
There's probably not even a lot of like smoke or ash, right? It's not that kind of thing. It's gas.
Yeah, and at this point, because of the sunlight, the gas has dissipated. So people are just coming across this scene of just dead people and dead animals.
That's terrible.
It's so scary and creepy. Like even the flies died. Like
ew. Can you imagine just seeing everything dead?
You have no idea why. Ugh, it's so creepy.
Yeah, very biblical.
Very, very eerie. So those who arrived on scene were horrified to see the amount of bodies strewn about in and outside of their homes. Disturbingly, it looked as though a large number of them had attempted to flee but died before they could get away.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. Amazingly, though, there were some survivors. They had fallen to the ground just as the others had, but instead of dying, they just fell into a deep sleep, some not waking for over 10 hours.
Ooh.
And some of these people are in the same homes as other people who died. So
Weird.
It was really just kind of luck of the draw in a lot of cases if you lived or died.
Oh, interesting.
One survivor named Joseph Nquane was interviewed about his experience saying, quote, "I could not speak. I became unconscious. I could not open my mouth because then I smelled something terrible. I heard my daughter snoring in a terrible way, very abnormal. When crossing to my daughter's bed, I collapsed and fell. It was there till 9 o'clock in the morning of Friday the next day, until a friend of mine came and knocked at my door. I was surprised to see that my trousers were red, like they had stains like honey. I saw some starchy mess on my body. My arms had wounds. I didn't really know how I got these wounds. I opened the door. I wanted to speak. My breath would not come out. My daughter was already dead. Ugh. I went into my daughter's bed thinking that she was sleeping. slept till it was 4:30 in the afternoon on Friday the same day. Then I managed to go over to my neighbors' houses. They were all dead.
Oh my God.
I decided to leave because most of my family was in womb. I got on my motorcycle. A friend whose father died had left it for me. As I rode through Nyos, I didn't see any sign of any living thing. When I got to womb, I was unable to walk, even to talk. My body was completely weak.
But how did he ride the scooter?
I don't know.
Wow.
Persevered, I guess. But how horrifying.
Oh, you like literally hear your daughter dying.
You just wake up and everyone's dead.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you're collapsing in and out of consciousness.
No idea why.
At first, you would think like it's you and your body, like a heart attack or a stroke or something. But then, like you realize everyone else.
To hear your family dying. Ugh.
That is so quickly and that's sad.
Sadly, there would be some family members who would awaken several hours later surrounded by their entire family who had perished in the disaster and chose to commit suicide from their grief.
Oh, that's sad.
Super sad. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation, but on a big scale. In the final count, 1,746 people died.
1,746 people died. Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That's sad. That's widespread.
Yeah, it's a ton. Mostly from the villages of Cha, Subam, and Nyos, with Nyos being hit the hardest as it was closest to the lake.
Yeah, makes sense.
3,909 cows died during the disaster.
Wow.
3,324 chickens and birds, 364 sheep, 561 goats, as well as many reptiles, insects, and amphibians. Wow. Very few living creatures were spared from the deadly effects of the mysterious white cloud coming off the lake.
Cockroaches, right? They survive everything.
Those fuckers. So the cloud reached up to 16 miles away.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it affected a ton of people.
That's so creepy.
I know. And it was kind of quick moving too. So,
and it's not like well, I mean, obviously maybe at the time, but it's not like you can predict that happening, right?
No.
There's not like machines. No, that's
there was
wild.
no monitoring. There was no warning.
Yeah, especially since you said it was like totally dead. Right?
And the area is very rural. It's not like
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The local officials and military evacuated the people living in that area and carried injured people to the surrounding hospitals for treatment. Thousands were in need of medical care. The most common injuries among survivors were severe headache, asphyxiation, burns, pulmonary infections, nervous problems, and post-traumatic stress, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
These injuries and the eyewitness reports led the medical professionals and government officials to believe that the people had all been poisoned by some type of deadly gas coming off the lake. Mm-hmm. But now they had to figure out how and why it happened, as well as plan to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, let's take a quick break. Okay, welcome back.
What's up?
What's up? Okay, so when we left, we were saying that terrible things have happened, and now they need to figure out like why it happened, how they're gonna keep it from happening again.
Correct. Of course. Yes.
Okay, so the villagers who lived in those areas certainly were not going to go, risk going back until they had some answers. Mm-hmm. So the government did that thing you always see in End of the World movies where they assemble an elite team of scientists and specialists from all, like that's usually, I love those movies and it's just.
Oh, best movies.
Yeah. It's always, they're probably a lot better looking than they are in real life, but it's always all these like scientists from all over. And that's exactly what happened here. There's like people from France, like Japan, America.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like pretty cool. So in an interview with the BBC, Peter Baxter, a consultant and physician, explained what he found when he arrived at Lake Nyos a couple weeks after the event. Baxter said there were no signs of life and rotting cattle were still strewn about the land.
Ugh.
Which I can only imagine the smell. The village of Nyos was an unsettling ghost town. All of the thatched huts stood empty and abandoned. It's just so creepy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to like revive that area. I would like leave it abandoned, right?
I mean, but the problem was
So many people died right there.
They ended
Haunted
up
for
just
sure.
like burying them in mass graves for the most part. Yeah. And like, but the problem is like that land is super fertile and good for farming. So
dang it.
that was people's livelihoods.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's just so eerie.
I know. It's like they want to go back, but also don't want to die. So it's not a good situation. Yeah. So these scientists are arriving weeks later, dead cattle still around. So when he climbed the hill to view Lake Nyos, he found the once beautiful deep blue lake to now be a reddish brown color with large mats of dead vegetation floating on the surface of the very still water.
So like a lot of insects and stuff?
Yeah, there's also floating in the water and piled on the shores of the lake were dead fish.
Ooh.
The only creatures who seemed to be unaffected were frogs, who still inhabited the lake shores and seemed to be thriving.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. They must be really resilient. But yeah, the water turned like this completely different color, which is also really creepy to see. And also kind of seems biblical. And if you see it, like red water.
Red water, yeah.
Okay, so the water level had also dropped about a meter, and trees around the lake had been knocked down, likely due to the enormous waves created during the event. So it's kind of weird because in town, it looks like, besides everything being dead, nothing really looks different.
Right. It's not like they have water damage.
Yeah. The only place that you can see any devastation is just right at the lake.
Okay.
So that probably also gave them some clues, like, where it happened.
For sure.
Another specialist brought in named George Kling, who was a professor from the University of Michigan, was also on site and was blown away by the devastation he saw at the lake. Kling had actually visited the lake a year prior and had gone swimming in its crystal blue waters and couldn't believe the brownish red color it had turned. He's really sad. I think he said the kid that showed him the lake had died, and it was just like,
aww.
I know. He also noted that the large mats of floating vegetation had come from the surrounding banks of the lake and had been ripped away by the massive waves formed during the disturbance in the water. Peter Baxter explained that at first, the locals thought a volcanic eruption had occurred and spewed poisonous gases. But the absence of destruction, which should have occurred during a volcanic eruption, made the likeliness of such an event in a long dead volcano very small. So the researchers continued to hunt for answers. The reporters from villagers about the smells they had experienced, such as the smell of rotten eggs and gunpowder, made the scientists believe it must have been sulfur gas, which is a very common substance that occurs in volcanic eruptions. However, when they tested the waters in the lake, the gas dissolved in the water and the surrounding plants. They found no evidence of excess sulfur in any of their samples.
Okay.
So it's like, what the funk? The experts continued digging, but after they were stumped on the sulfur theory, the scientists would eventually catch a break when they came across an old study on the effects of CO2, or carbon dioxide gas, in high concentrations on fighter pilots.
Ooh.
So the purpose of these studies was to test for oxygen stress on the pilots. I'm assuming because, when they fly too high or too quickly, these effects would come into play.
Sure.
In these studies, they found that CO2 concentrations above 5 to 10% acted as a sensory hallucinogen, but definitely not the fun kind. The pilots reported smelling rotten eggs or gunpowder and said that they began to feel very warm. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Oddly, this type of disaster was not the first of its kind. Something very similar had happened a mere 2 years before the Lake Nyos disaster, only 60 miles away at a smaller lake called Lake Manoun, which is also located in the Oku volcanic field. So an eerily similar scene was found on August 15th, 1984, with 37 villagers lying dead on the roads and in their huts near the lake.
That's so creepy.
At the time, the carbon dioxide gas theory was proposed as a possible cause, but was dismissed and not studied further.
Why, though?
I don't know. I think there was more factors, like the people who died were buried a lot quicker. There wasn't as much I don't know. Somebody did submit that theory to like a scientific magazine, and I think they were rejected. Like,
That sucks.
yeah, they just didn't put any.
That's like has to be so infuriating.
I know. He's like, I was right. I think it was like a
know.
Japanese scientist.
Ah.
So yeah, so same thing happened at this other lake, but wasn't studied any further. But then 2 years later, you have it happening on like a much bigger scale. So
Yeah, much bigger.
now the CO2 theory was being taken much more seriously. Okay, are you ready for science time?
I guess so.
Okay, I'm going to do my best.
I'm not sure any of us are ready for science time.
Get ready to use your tired brain. Okay, so most of the time when CO2 occurs in nature by natural geological processes, it's fairly harmless. It's not usually created in large enough amounts to hurt anyone and is usually vented from the earth or natural springs. Although I guess there is an area in Yellowstone National Park called Death Gulch.
Oh.
Very charming name.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
Gulch?
Death Gulch.
Ew.
Where where CO2 has been known to collect in it and kill large animals like grizzly bears.
Whoa.
Yeah, grizzly bears. Those things are huge. Because CO2 is heavier than oxygen, it just kind of chills near the surface of the earth. This makes sense when you remember back to the Lake Nyos disaster, where people who fled to higher ground were able to survive. So how does this tie into the lake? If this is a naturally occurring process, why has it not happened much more often?
Is it because it's a volcano lake? It's a crater lake.
Yeah, but like
volcano.
It's a volcano lake, but like they're saying, why hasn't this happened before? Or at least that we can in like recent history.
Okay.
If this is like if this is a thing that can happen, why is it happening so seldomly?
Sure.
So, like we said, Lake Nyos rests on top of an old volcano, which, as previously discussed, so does Lake Manoon. The water in Lake Nyos is very deep, though, and the lake is actually split into different layers depending on depth.
Oh.
Kind of like a lake layer cake.
Okay.
The bottom layer of water doesn't really mix with the rest of the upper layers for various reasons, including water pressure from the layers on top.
Cool. Okay, so like an oil and water kind of situation, right?
Except they're both water. But yeah.
But like the sense of like they're not mixing.
Right. So there's like two layers, and mostly because of the water pressure for on top. Like not all lakes are like this, by the way. But this is the case with Lake Nyos and Lake Manoon for all kinds of reasons that I just won't get into. But a lot of it has to do with temperature. So those bottom layers are super, super cold, and the layers on top are a little warmer, and they just don't mix.
Okay.
Now, it is theorized that over time, the magma below the lake degasses CO2 into the water. But because that bottom layer doesn't mix with the rest, all of the CO2 stays trapped at the bottom of the lake. The pressure is so heavy down there that not even little CO2 bubbles can escape to the top.
Okay.
That's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
And this may have been happening for decades, even centuries, creating a dormant little lake bomb just waiting to be triggered.
A lake bomb.
Yes.
Oh.
It's kind of like shaking a bottle of Coke and just keeping the cap on.
Yeah.
So the next question was, what suddenly caused the CO2 to escape in such a crazy way? Like, who shook the damn bottle and took the cap off? Scientists theorized that there could have been a couple of reasons. A pretty solid theory was large boulders fell into the from the surrounding steep shoreline and crashed into the water, which would have caused the layers in the lake to mix, allowing the CO2 to escape.
Okay.
That theory was supported by evidence of a recent rock slide along an adjacent cliff next to the lake.
Ooh, okay.
So I feel like that's pretty likely. It was also theorized that there may have been a small volcanic eruption beneath the lake bed or perhaps a small earthquake, although witnesses did not report feeling the ground shake. They did hear that rumble, though, so I'm wondering if the rumble was the rock slide. There was also heavy rain that evening, and some scientists theorized the cool rainwater combined with air temperature drop may have caused the shift just from like the the water temperatures. Like the cold water would sink to the bottom and then the layers mix.
Science. Water science.
So much water science. Dear God. This is some people's whole job. In any case, whatever the case, it happened. Even if we don't know exactly why. But I feel like the rock slide's probably a pretty good bet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The iron-rich waters at the bottom layer rose to the top and turned the water that reddish brown.
That totally makes sense.
Yes. I was wondering about that at first. I was like, what would turn the water a different color? Like, that's wild. Mm-hmm. As a CO2 water jet blasted from the surface of the lake, it released the deadly cloud of gas.
Yes.
It is estimated that 100,000 to 300,000 tons of carbon dioxide gas were released from the lake that evening. They poured over the lake rim and traveled at speeds of 45 miles per hour into the surrounding valleys and villages.
That's fast.
It's really fast. Like, there's no running from that. You should be fucked. Like, there's no escape. It's so scary. The death toll was enormous, and scientists had to figure out how to prevent this from happening again because, alarmingly, subsequent testing showed that the CO2 in Lake Nyos and in Lake Manoon were increasing at a scary rate. If they didn't figure out how to off-gas the CO2, the same thing was likely going to happen again.
Okay.
So, a number of solutions were proposed. Drop a bomb in the lake?
What? That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that was a no.
Just explode it?
For a lot of reasons.
No, thank you.
Like, no, just do it every once in a while.
No.
What's another one? Dump in a shit ton of lime to offset the gas.
Lime?
Yeah.
Stone?
Like lime the mineral?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not the citrus. That's what I wanted to clarify, okay?
Just dump a bunch of limes.
That's exactly what I pictured.
Lime slide. It's gonna work, you guys. I swear. Why limes? No, like the mineral. Apparently, it neutralizes the gas, but also was very expensive. So they didn't want to do that.
Makes sense.
How about digging to the bottom of the lake to release the gas, like little tunnels? Apparently, that was even more expensive than the lime. So, a much less expensive and relatively low-tech option was decided on. A long-ass pipe that reached to the bottom of the lake was installed in the center of the lake on a floating platform.
They put like a big straw in it.
Yeah, they they basically put a giant straw on it. And the pipe would bring the CO2 to the surface in a slow, controlled release.
Interesting.
Not bringing enough CO2 up at once to be harmful.
Okay.
There is a picture, I think, of the first time they set this up to off-gas it, and it releases a massive jet out of the top of it from all the build-up pressure below. It was pretty wild. I think that picture's out there. I'll try and post it. Let's see. And it looks like a giant straw sticking up.
Okay, there you go. You're welcome.
That's your visual provided by Shauna. So the final installations were done in the early 2000s, with additional pipes being installed in 2011, which seems like just a long time away from the 80s, but
yeah,
I guess funding and all that slowed things down.
Sure.
The same technique was implemented at Lake Manoon as well. In 2019, it was found that the off-gassing had sustained a steady state, and the lake was now deemed safe. Many of the survivors endured hard years in the relocation camps after their homes were deemed unsafe from the lake. Those who did eventually move back still struggled with the loss of their livelihoods after their cattle had all died.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean,
so much.
They talk about this, like, severely affected the economy. Like, it's just left a big scar.
It's a lot of loss.
It really is. And then there's, of course, the loss of their loved ones, their families, their friends. But, I mean, they were super tough. They're resilient. Since the disaster, the villagers have done their best to continue their lives, and those who were children during the event now have families of their own, which is kind of neat. But they haven't forgotten that devastating day and hold memorial services yearly to honor the loved ones they lost. And yeah, I guess we can just hope that it doesn't happen again, that those lakes remain safe. That's all I have for you on this tragedy, but...
Weird, a natural, like, gas tragedy. Like, I wouldn't have thunk that, you know?
I wouldn't have thunk. Yeah, and just the amount of people and animals that died.
Yeah,
like
that's
just from a lake.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah. So thanks, Sky. Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool story.
I know. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. A lot of science.
A lot of science. Some water science.
We have volcano science, lake science, water science. There's gas science.
Good job,
Zoology.
Abby.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we do City of the Week?
Let's still do City of the Week.
Okay.
And that goes to Bellevue, Washington.
Hey, Bellevue. What's up?
Hello.
What's up? What's up?
Washington homies.
Yeah. Do you feel cool? You get to be like our final City of the Week for a while?
Thank you for listening. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you very much.
Very cool.
Are we listening? We have been listening to something we both got hooked on.
I got you into it.
He did. It was Shauna's doing. It's probably not a new...
I think we're late to the game, honey. Like, way late.
It's a podcast.
And I'm still not finished with it. You finished it before me.
I beat her. I did that thing where I got obsessed and was like, oh, I'm going to listen to all of it. Live and Die in LA, which, yeah, it's not a new podcast.
No, we're listening to season 1 and there's season 2. But that season 1, man, it is rocking my world.
Woo! If you want a good binge, a little binge
That is very binge worthy.
It is like, it'll get you hooked like right away.
I'm so glad you like literally listened to it the next day.
I know. I was like adding it. Well, I had just talked to Michael. I was like, I'm pretty much caught up on all of my podcasts. Like, I need a new podcast to
and I
binge.
gave you one.
You did. It was just like the universe provides. And then I listened to all of it.
Yeah, in like a day.
In like 2 days.
2 days.
There's a season 2. So that'll last me 2 more days.
Super good.
But yeah, that's a really good one if you're looking for a new podcast.
Yeah. That's our new stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, we never got to do, well, I guess there wasn't like a bad guy in this story, but creative cursing.
Yeah.
Flashback.
Do you want to just creative curse at each other?
Sure. You want me to I'll go first.
Yeah. How do you feel about me?
Always bad at this if we don't
Shauna is
remember.
historically terrible at creative cursing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Dickless nubbin. I know how much you don't like the word nubbin.
I included that in the book for some masochistic reason. I hate that word.
That is so funny.
Okay, my turn.
Here you go.
Thank you for calling me a dickless nubbin.
You're such a dickless nubbin.
What am I going to call you? How about... No, I don't like that.
See, it's hard.
Oh, no. Oh, a raging fuckface.
Okay. I mean...
Should you come up with one for Michael?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I can't call him this. You
Michael, you're such a queef shitlicker.
Ooh, harsh.
Ew.
That is gross.
You want a creative curse one? No, he's scared.
He's over it.
We'll have this book for always.
For always and forever.
You know, we didn't utilize it as much as we used to. I think we always forgot to use it, but
Yeah.
it's always a fun time if you want to be grossed out. Things to call your friends. Yeah, that was our creative curse.
Yeah, what do we do now? This is
I
weird.
don't know.
I think we're sad. I think
We're just like stalling.
Yeah. We've kind of been doing that all day.
Yeah, we have been. We've just been like
I've been digging it, though.
Yeah, we're just very
slow as possible.
Yep. We're just really milking it and living in it.
Well, we're going to take a photo of us sitting on our table to recreate our first photo.
Yeah, we have our first photo here
of us. Yeah, it's on the table.
We're little baby podcasters.
We look very nervous and excited.
We have one microphone. And a really ghetto laptop we used to use that if you even just bumped the cord would stop recording and turn off.
It was, yeah.
Which happened on multiple occasions.
So little on that table, and now there's so much on the same table.
Same table.
Different place, same table.
Different house, better chairs, better equipment, but the same table.
Yes.
Old Faithful here.
She's a good old table. But yeah, that was the first one. I did my classic Titanic episode.
Of course, we didn't even talk about the Titanic.
The event we love so much morbidly. You know what I mean.
Yes.
But yeah, Titanic, we're obsessed.
We just even count the references in every episode we've made to the Titanic. It's probably like over half.
I can never get tired of it.
Yeah.
So
it's our shared love and obsession.
Yes.
So
crazy. So full circle.
Full circle. Love you guys. Like I said, keep in touch.
Yes.
We're still monitoring things.
We're still looking at you
in a very
on the
creepy way.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. I'll do our final for a while sign off.
Okay, I'll say it with you.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Good up and good night. I'm gonna say it. You guys, you ready for my cruddy spaghetti? All right. I went to smithsonianmag.com. I went to wikipedia.com, washingtonpost.com, seattletimes.com, worldatlas.com, volcano.oregonstate.edu, britannica.com, and bbc.co.uk. Our music is by Broke for Free and Matt Edwards and edited by our wonderful editor. We thank you, Michael.
All right. Should I list our social medias?
Please do.
We have a lot of our things at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. So that's our handle for both of our Facebook page and group, along with our Instagram and Gmail.
We have a Twitter at AA the Pod.
You can support us on patreon.com/anxious and afraid.
If you do that, you get some pretty nice perks. You get ad-free episodes that are released a whole day early, and you get a free sticker.
You can also support us for free if you can't do any of that by leaving a rate review. You subscribe to the show, tell your friends.
Yeah, we would appreciate all of it. Do it right now.